through the mill, it's not going to change the 7,500 tons that you can actually process of your hard material. The hard material just preferentially breaks the soft, and that just goes through the plant exceptionally easily. So we can actually improve the throughput of the plant with the technology which we've got by processing softer material in conjunction with the hard. So there's a number of different parameters which we can look at there. If it's not going to cost you anything more to process more material, even though the grade of that material is softer, we're actually looking at life extension, in addition to hoping to find something which will be a standalone operation. So really in conclusion, I'm fairly sort of confident when we stand up here, and I think every time we've come through to Stockholm and we've said, this is what we're going to do, I think we've actually done it, and in actually all cases we've exceeded. So we have a very strong balance sheet, and it's now, what do we actually do with the money? How best do we add value to our shareholders by making sure that we don't waste any of that money? And the exploration program, the dividend, a lot of people ask me about a share buyback. If we're ever going to do a share buyback, it means that it's going to take about a year's worth of convincing on the board. It is a Lundin board. But if we are going to do something, you want to make sure that it actually adds value. Doing a share buyback and buying 20 million shares doesn't add anything. All that it really does is it consumes our cash for no real value. If you're going to do a share buyback, it's minimum 10% of the outstanding which needs to be consumed, and I'd prefer to go 20. If we're going to go 20, am I going to spend $50 million of the $100 million we've got? A little bit about me. I'm one of those people that if I'm driving home and my gas tank gets to half, I will stop and fill it up. I would rather have comfort than worry that I'm going to run out of gas sort of 3 days later. My wife, on the other hand, will run 50 kilometers into the red. We don't share that part. We've got the extension programs. So there's sort of exploration information which is now coming out. How can we actually extend the life of what we've got? How can we improve on what we've got? And again, as I said, we're not looking for a dripping roast, as De Beers used to call it. We might actually just be looking for something which is going to add margin to what we're already doing, but something that we can actually still continue to drive shareholder value without spending a lot of cash on it. So in terms of Karowe, I actually added in this word. That's the important one. Greater than our revenue forecast of between $240 and $250 million, still from selling the same volume of diamonds, 400 to 420,000 carats. You can quiz Glenn on this later. Our operating costs are trending below 31. I didn't point it out on the table. I think the table has 26. We do actually have the mobilization costs of a new mining contractor, which will push that up to closer to $30. And then, as I mentioned, coming in underneath the $55 million for our capital program, that's working quite well. And we do expect to come underneath that, but also deliver the project on schedule. We're only about a week and a half late at the moment. It's not going to make any material difference. And I think one of the keys there is that everything that we've actually integrated, we're not going to shut the plant down for a month to connect everything in. We've now had, we're in our fifth one. Today and tomorrow the plant is down as we tie in other parts of the conveyor, the other parts of the process. But the beauty about doing that is the guys that actually operate get to run the new section as part of the overall plant. So there's a continual learning process instead of going through a very, very steep learning curve in May. So that's actually working out quite well. And then our orphan, Matai. A lot of people ask me, what are we doing about Matai? And it's frustrating because we know that Matai has some nice stones. Highest value stone there, 28.9 carat stone, $57,000 a carat. We've got a 43 carat stone, or $43,000 per carat. It was 13.1 carats, and a whole slew which were actually sold to Tiffany. So if you have a Tiffany ring, you could have a Matai stone. And anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 a carat. They are there. Problem is that we don't understand if they are there in sufficient quantities to justify a $300 million spend. To build a plant of Matai to process 2.5 million tons, because it's out in the mountains, it's $60 million for the power line. So when we start to look at efficient use of our capital, is $300 million spend going to be sort of value add to you? With the risk profile of what we see in the kimberlite, I'd rather have $100 million in the bank and a full gas tank than currently spend money on Matai. And I think that's it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Any questions? I spoke for 50 minutes there and didn't speak too quickly. I must have understood something. Yes? Sorry?
Sorry, I can't give you the microphone. ask who you are selling to? I didn't understand that.
Okay, so the way we sell... Sorry?
Bands you sell?
Oh, no. Our diamonds are also... We have a list of most probably about anywhere from 150 to 160 clients. They are anywhere from Israelis, people that come out of New York will have Chinese buyers, but the vast majority of them who buy the smaller, low-quality goods are from India. The way we actually sell our goods is, it's all on a sealed bid tender. So actually, if anybody here wanted to buy and you had some expertise, you'd sort of fill in the form, prove that you're actually part of a bourse. You can come in, you have a look at the goods. If you feel that they're worth X, you can put a bid in, and you can buy our stones. If your bid is the highest, you will win them, and you have 5 days to pay. So when people come out and they spend $12.5 million on a stone, same criteria as somebody who spent $50 per carat on a parcel. 5 days and the money's in the bank. Or we send Glenn out.
Är det några fler frågor? Här borta har vi en fråga också.
I can just...
Okay.
Is there any political risk in Africa?
So Botswana, one of the fun things about being in Botswana is, so firstly it's a pastoral tribe. There's only one real tribe in Botswana, so you don't have the same problems as what you see in South Africa. They've just gone through elections now. The same political party won again. They've been in power since independence in '66. The risk associated with Botswana is exceptionally low. Like the Botswana government, they've been it's actually about 54% of their revenue comes from the diamond industry. So you'd actually think that sort of a lot of that is going, if it was in South Africa, it would be most probably sort of disappearing somewhere else. When you fly into Botswana, you land at the Seretse-Khama airport, it's this enormous vaulted ceiling building. There are no potholes on the road, unless you're going in the really back roads. There's brand new office park. You can actually see where the money is going. So Botswana for us is, the reason why we sort of focused on that is our exploration process. Lesotho, slightly different. The government has been shut down mainly because about 18 months ago they had elections. The previous Prime Minister's party won in terms of number of votes. But in Lesotho, because they want to give optionality to rural areas, some of the rural areas have more seats, so they didn't have enough seats to form a government. So the three remaining parties formed a coalition government, but none of their policies were the same. So that's really been the challenge for them to sort of see eye to eye. Sorry? Botswana is where 100% of our revenue comes from, and most probably for the foreseeable future is where we're going to focus.
Finns det några fler frågor? Om det inte gör det så kommer det ju finnas möjlighet att prata med oss under förtäringen här ute också. Så thank you so much for coming everyone.